How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman, and the topic for this particular broadcast, this podcast, is business architects and enterprise architects. Are you being listened to? Now, there's a lot of phrases we can use for are you being listened to? Is your advice being taken? Can you see the results of your effort being an effective, traceable path to business activities, achieving business goals? Are you consulted rather than present and then nothing happens? Is your advice being taken, or is your expertise being asked for? If the answer is no, I'm going to suggest to you through our practice over 40 plus decades that it is one of two things. One, what you're presenting to your stakeholders, or number two, how you're presenting to your stakeholders. So let's take a look at the first one. What are you presenting? I can assure you that your stakeholders are not interested in process flow diagrams, capability maps, recipes, thought processes. What they're interested in is how to achieve their mission or strategic objectives. That's the end game. I like to say when we chat about this in our workshops and training sessions, what the stakeholder wants is a chocolate cake. How you make the chocolate cake, or what you have in the ingredients in the chocolate cake, is not of interest to most of the stakeholders. The first thing you have to do is to recognize, how do you get the point across that you have a chocolate cake for them to be able to consume, and then possibly you can say, by the way, here's how we actually made that chocolate cake. The analogy works pretty well. Think about what your stakeholders are wanting. Second, we are talking as business architects and enterprise architects to human beings. That means that what you're presenting needs to be human consumable. Human consumable. Back in a minute with that discussion.
So you want to advance your career and see enterprise architecture as a key component to this advancement. Or you're an enterprise architect and you want to be more effective in addressing business and technology needs. You want to create highly effective solutions that deal with the ever-evolving changes in businesses and organizations. But accumulating the knowledge and certification to do that can be a challenge. That's why EACOE created a one-of-a-kind certification workshop for enterprise architects. The workshops will teach you proven step-by-step enterprise architecture techniques that you can use for addressing continuous business and organizational change, and give you the certification you need to progress in your career. Want to learn more? Then visit eacoe.org.
Yes, real architecture is about enabling mission and business strategies. This is one of the key things that you and I have to recognize. Human consumability. What does that mean? There are parameters that we need to understand, and some of you understand those because you have had education or training or research in what a human being can understand. So for example, and some of these things are very frightening, you and I have approximately 57 seconds to get the attention of a stakeholder. I'm not saying we can explain in 57 seconds an enterprise or business architecture, but to get them, if I can use the phrase, hooked on what we are saying and how that saying can actually help them achieve their mission and business strategies. Other things, what we're presenting. Once again, what can a human being absorb when you are presenting something to them? So as one example, There's what we call the 7 plus or minus rule. What does that mean? When we put more than 9 things in front of a stakeholder with all of the other pressures that they have, it doesn't matter what a tool can do or what a methodology that you possibly have looked at suggests to you. A human being can only absorb 9 or less things at once, or else they're going to lose it. They're not going to have interest. These are just some of the hints that we want to give you. So in summary, if you are not getting the attention that you believe you deserve, if you are not if you're not producing what the stakeholder is actually enabling, take a look in the mirror for just a moment and ask yourself those 2 questions. What am I presenting, and how am I presenting? And possibly the results of that questioning will lead you to, as we like to say, a seat at the big person's table. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.